Colin in Stamford. What's up, Colin?
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
What's
I just want to kind of talk to you about the whole Brady debate.
What is the Brady debate?
I've heard it all week that guys still.
Yeah,
are
but what is the
comparing him.
Brady debate? Can you tell me what it is? I don't know what the debate is.
Well, I mean, with him and Rodgers, I don't get it. Rodgers is playing for a team that's 3-4-1
Well,
right now.
wait. So what's the debate?
Well, I mean, they have Brady is not. I mean, obviously Brady.
What is the debate? Can you please tell me what the debate is between the two? I don't know what the debate is.
All week we've heard that Rodgers is a better quarterback. He's better. He's more talented than Brady.
He is physically
more.
He's much more physically talented, but he's not got his accomplishments, so it's not even worth discussing. He's never going to have his accomplishments. He's never going to do what Brady did. Has he got more talent? He's got more talent in one leg than Brady's got in his whole body. I mean, physically, Brady's not an overly talented athlete. He's just a great quarterback. Not a great athlete. Rodgers is a tremendous talent physically. There's a big difference. But that doesn't matter. I mean, Rodgers he'd have to play 10 more years to accomplish what Brady accomplished. And then he wouldn't do it anyway. Rick in Connecticut, what's up, Rick? There's no debate. What's up, Rick?
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
Assuming the Yanks were able to add all four that we've been talking about, Machado, Harper, Corbin, and Kluber, do you know what their committed payroll is for next year already and what that would bring it to?
I have to listen. I can't. How can I do that when I don't know what those guys are getting paid? I mean, so it'd be impossible. Listen, the Yankees reset the thermostat. They were under the salary. They were under the luxury tax for the first time in their history. Since the luxury tax was installed, there have only been 8 teams that have been over it, and the Yankees had been over it every year until this year. So they reset the thermostat, which it makes it a lot easier for the Yankees to pay the luxury tax if they're over this year. The Yankees most likely will be over this year. I would think there's very little chance they won't be. But to ask me what the numbers are, how can I give you numbers when they haven't signed any of those guys yet?
In your mind, do you think they can afford and will sign all four?
They can afford any of them. They can afford any and all of them. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to get all of them. It doesn't mean they're going to pay all of them. Could they pay all of them? Absolutely. They absolutely could. Yes. The Yankees could buy anybody they want to buy. Anybody. That doesn't mean they're going to buy them all, but they can buy them all. Billy in Flushing. What's up, Billy?
Hey, Mike, how we doing?
What's happening?
I got 2 things. Yeah, 2 things for you. I'm on my way home from work to vote today, and then St. John's got a nice write-up in the Post today. Looks like this is going to be almost a make or break year for Mullins. Just want to know how many. If this doesn't work out for him, if you think this is be it for him, and then Notre Dame. If they make it to the Final Four, is it going to be another year they get embarrassed by an SEC team?
Probably yes.
And what about St. John's?
I mean, listen. If they get Alabama in the semis, I mean that's not an embarrassment. Everyone's going to get embarrassed by Alabama. If they get the other game, they could play a very close game against. I don't think they would beat either of the teams. They've already beaten Michigan. But Michigan would probably be playing the other team, so it would probably be Michigan would probably be 4th, so they'd probably be playing Alabama. So it would probably be Clemson playing Notre Dame, and Clemson will probably beat them, or Georgia playing Notre Dame if Clemson stumbles, and Georgia would probably beat them. I think Georgia or Clemson would beat them. Notre Dame's already beaten Michigan. I don't want to insult Notre Dame by saying that right now. I think Michigan would beat them, but I do, because I think Michigan now is in a different place than they were then. I think Michigan's defense now would be the difference. But it doesn't matter. They already beat them, so you don't get to say that because Notre Dame already beat them. But I think Notre Dame has a good chance. They're not a lock. They could get picked off, as we know. I mean, they almost got picked off by Pittsburgh. They played a close game with Northwestern. They can get picked off. But if they get there, will they win the championship? No. But nobody's winning the championship this year except Alabama. Louis in the Bronx. What's up, Louis?
Mike, what's your opinion of the Ian Book as a quarterback for Notre Dame?
He's all right. I mean, he's playing okay on the college level. I mean, he's a college quarterback right now. I mean, that's what he looks like to me. He's playing okay. I mean, they've done an okay job. I mean, they got a good offense. They can move the ball. Notre Dame's always had a good offense. The question was, were they good enough defensively? They've always had a good offense. Sometimes their line play's been a little light against the really big teams. The question for them has been having the power and the speed on defense to handle the big teams. That's really been the problem for them. Notre Dame usually can score. That's never been, it's rarely been the case for them. They usually have some skill people. That's not been their problem. Ryan in Melville, what's up, Ryan?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good.
I think if we had a typhoon for 3 weeks, it wouldn't be as bad as weather as the garbage that is New York professional sports.
Oh, well, I could say that. But I tell you, I don't know what has happened. I don't know what has happened to our weather. For some reason now, our weather stinks in every season. It's just unbelievable. I just don't know what is... I don't know what's happened to it. We used to have beautiful Septembers, not anymore. We used to have, we have no springs. I don't know what has gone on with our weather. Something's happened. I don't know what it is, but the weather has just become just atrocious where we live. And I know that this is a factor because even one of the politicians said the other day, hey, it's not the taxes that are going to run people out of New York, it's the weather. And, I said, you're right. It is. The weather's that bad. Well, who want to live here every day? The weather stinks. Jerry in Chatham, New Jersey. What's up, Jerry? Jeremy, what's happening?
Hey, Mike. You just broke down the Brady and Rodgers as an accomplishment versus talent. Got me thinking, do you think that's fair to say that's the LeBron Jordan?
God, no, they're both specimens, but you got to understand something which you're not evidently grasping. Dr. Steve O'Brien, who is one of my best friends in the world, used to be the guy who did the physicals at the draft for the players. He told me that Brady was the worst specimen at quarterback he had ever examined. That he was so bad physically that he almost said, my God, how can this guy play in this league? And he went up to New England and he worked his rear end off in every way to change his body, to change his arm, to change everything, and give him credit for that. He did hours and hours of throwing and hours of work. No one outworked him. He changed himself completely. He is not by nature a genetic, god like some of these guys are. Jordan, LeBron, they are genetic gods. So are, a lot of other guys. Lawrence Taylor. So is Rodgers. Rodgers has incredible physical ability.
Why does Rodgers not get more flack? Why does Rodgers not get more flack for winning one Super Bowl? Is it because he's that good and it's obviously not him?
Well, listen, part of it is coaching. Part of it's defense. Part of it's the talent around you. Give me the Hall of Fame player that's been on the team with Aaron Rodgers. Who is he? What's his name?
Yeah, you're right.
I'm saying, so a lot of it has to do with, if you watch Aaron Rodgers play the position, you can't tell me he doesn't have an ungodly amount of ability. The guy does. He's incredible. And this year he's playing on one leg. He's not even healthy this year. But that's not a knock on Brady. That is a compliment to Brady. He has willed himself to be this kind of person, which is why he is so fastidious now at 41 about his conditioning, about his nutrition, about his trainer, about all that stuff, because that's how he made himself. He's not a natural athlete like some of these guys are. These other guys are. Lawrence Taylor never lifted a weight in his life. He was born that way. That's just the way some guys are. So that's not a knock on Brady. That's a compliment. Dom in Dumont. What's up, Dom?
Hi, Mike. How are you?
What's happening?
I wanted to ask you a question about Notre Dame.
Yeah.
One of the most prestigious colleges in all of college football. My question is,
right.
Why don't they move to the Big Ten? Because honestly,
they will never move to a league. They will never move to a league because if you have to understand something. Notre Dame, as a franchise, is different than any franchise in any sport. There is only one Notre Dame. And let me put this in perspective for you, then maybe you grasp it. There is no other team in any sport ever in the history of American sport that has every one of its games, not some of its games, every one of its games on complete national television, not syndicate,
right.
not regional, not the worst Notre Dame goes to. The worst is ESPN. That's the worst they go for their games. Notre Dame, every game. No one else has ever done this. Not the Dallas Cowboys, not the Los Angeles Lakers, not the Boston. No one has ever done this in the history of sport. So what Notre Dame likes more than winning is one other thing: money. And they will not share their packages with anybody. So that's why they are not in a league for football.
Mike, let me ask you a quick question to piggyback off of that.
Yes.
Do you, even though I know you're right, they're not going to move, but don't you think? Let me just finish first. Don't you think the move would help them out with the college football playoff?
No.
Because unfortunately, you don't think so?
No.
Okay, I mean geographically it makes sense. They're in South Bend, Indiana, so it makes a lot of sense. But
it's no.
Okay.
Their problem is see, but you're trying to say that their problem is because they're Notre Dame and they're not in a league that they're not getting players. The problem is third-year math. Okay. Notre Dame is an academic institution. They will once in a while have the admissions board look the other way for a certain player. You have to have third-year math to go to Notre Dame. A lot of college guys, big-time football, basketball players, do not have third-year math at the least. And Notre Dame academically will not look aside for a lot of players, only a couple of players. At times they've helped out. The reason Urban Meyer didn't go to Notre Dame, truth be told, is he wanted it in writing that he got X number of players through the admissions department per year. Notre Dame wouldn't put it in writing. They said, we'll give it to you, but we're not putting it in writing. And they said, yeah, but I have one bad kid, and you'll do what you did to Bob Davies. You pulled all the players. They had one kid who got in trouble. I won't say his name, but he came from Texas. And they pulled every player. And then Bob Davies started losing because they wouldn't give him any academic. They wouldn't put anybody through the admissions department. He had to get every kid cleared just like everybody else. And all of a sudden, your players fall off dramatically. Look how good their players were when they had Lou Holtz. Ricky Waters never could have gone to Notre Dame under regular circumstances. Tony Rice was a plan B when he went to Notre Dame. These guys won a national championship. The tight end from Merritt Island, Florida. What was the kid's name? The big tight end. Played there. Brown. He was from Merritt Island, Florida. One of the top high school players in America. Guys like that never could have got in if they weren't getting waivers. So with that being the case, that they stopped doing it, though, for certain coaches, and then they can't get the players in. With Notre Dame, it's about getting the players in. In football, you need a lot of players. And Notre Dame's problem is the academic standards is the reason why they don't get the same player anymore. But the other thing is a lot of the kids who thought it was an honor to go to Notre Dame in the 60s and 70s don't give a darn about Notre Dame anymore. So they don't also get to pick and choose the top kid in the country like they did in the days of Parseghian, where every kid wanted to go there. Now every kid doesn't care. They're like, we don't care about Notre Dame. I'll go to Miami. I'll go to Florida State. I'll go to Ohio State. I'll go. In those days, they went to Notre Dame. So that's the difference. They don't get the same level kid automatically anymore. Plus, they have academic standards that are very high. Going into a league would not make it easier for them. It would not. It could make it easier for them. But Notre Dame can schedule anybody they want. You see, Notre Dame doesn't schedule returns. A Notre Dame return is, Navy, you come to me, and then we'll play the game in Baltimore. Right? In an 80,000-seat stadium. That's your return. That's how Notre Dame works. For two reasons. One, they don't want to play in your little building because they want a big place to play. Number two, they don't want to play in a place where you might have an advantage. So they want to play you on a semi-neutral field in front of 40,000 of their fans and 40,000 of your fans instead of just 40,000 of your fans. That's how it works. So those are Notre Dame's advantages. Now, they've got Notre Dame back up to a certain level. Notre Dame can no longer get to the level where they're going to have the best players in the country like they did at one point. When Arrow was winning, he was getting players the level of USC, of guys like that. And once Bear started recruiting black players, then he was again, like, remember, Bear's talent fell off. What Bear did one year, if people realize, is when Bear no longer was getting the players because he couldn't get black players in the school, and the SEC really hadn't just started to to take black players right around 69, 70, Bear scheduled USC so that USC would come and beat their brains in, and that Alabama say, "Oh, we can't let this go on," and Bear would say, "Well, you got to let me recruit black players." Voila. USC beat him like 42-10. He was allowed to start recruiting black players, and then he went off and knocked off like 3 or 4 more national championships. That's how it worked. It's all about recruiting. But Notre Dame will never, and I've told people this, people have been calling me up for 20 years telling me Notre Dame was going to join a league, and I've told everybody every single day for 25 years, maybe longer, that Notre Dame would never join a league. Notre Dame will never join a league for football. Never. They will sometime make an agreement like they have now where they'll play a couple extra teams from your league, but they will never join a league in football because they are a league unto themselves. Back after this.